over here it says ABC is less than 180 degrees. Now, you can see over here, your job is to write down everything first. This is 90, right? Then what is this? This must be 45, isn't it?
Yeah.
This must be 45. Am I making sense here? Does that make sense to you? All right, now, A, B, C. Okay, A is here, B is over here, C is over here. Now, how do you know that it is less than 180 degrees? Well, you have to go and kind of estimate a little, right? Okay, so let's ask ourselves, what do you think this angle is? What do you think this angle is? Why is it 60? Because this is an equilateral. Agree so far? Okay, so this is 60 and then this must be 60. You all agree so far? Now, you see, A, which is A, they want us to talk, they say A plus B is already how much? 60 plus 45 is already how much? How much is that? 105. You all agree so far? I ask you a question. When you look at C, do you think C will be an acute or an obtuse angle? It has to be an acute angle. You get what I'm trying to say? If it's an obtuse, then it will exceed 180. And this explains why it is true. Now, let's go on to the next one. It says that A, B, and D is more than 180 degrees. I want to ask myself, what's A? I already know is 45, right? All right, my B, what is my B? What is my B? What is my B? My B is actually equals to 60, is it? Is my B 60? Okay, all right, so B is 60, all right, and then what is my D? My D is actually the whole thing, you know? You realize that? Wow, if this, yeah, is definitely more than that, right? So you see, 145 plus 6, 45 plus 60, right, is actually how much? 105. You all agree so far? This has, if let's say if this is 75, right? Okay, then just nice 180. But do you think this is 75?
Could be.
This is what? How much is this?
Not possible though.
We don't know, right?
Yeah.
Well, right, so this is 60, then this can be 15. You get what I'm trying to say? That's the reason why your answer is not possible to tell. Now, Mrs. Rani borrows 72,000 from the bank to buy a car. Make sense? Now, what happens is this. The bank charges 2.8% interest per year. How much interest does Mrs. Rani have to pay each month? So we are going to find the interest per year first. You agree so far? All I need to do is really just 72,000 times 2.8%. All right, now this is actually equals to how much? 2016. This is the total amount of interest that you have to pay per year. Now this 2016 is for how many months? 12 months, correct? So I want to find 1 month, okay, because the question says what each month. Can you see that? Very good. So we have to do 2016 divided by 12. Okay, when I do that, what happens is this, I will get to $168. So every month I will have to fork out every month I will have $168 interest charged to me. Jack had $9.60 less than Jill. So for Jack himself, it will be smaller than Jill. And I want to make sure that my model is always drawn big. Numbers always on the outside. Okay, why numbers on the outside? So that I I can split this up into whatever parts that I want. Okay, which gives me the flexibility. Okay. After Jill gave some of her money to Jack, he, as in Jack, had $30 more than her. Okay. So now my question to you is this, right? Do you think Jill gave away the entire 960? I'm pretty sure she did.
Yes, I also agree.
All right. So now what happens is this, right? We are going to X this away. We're going to X this away and we are going to show that this is given. So you don't want to just immediately show the $30, but you want to show part by part. So we are going to say that this 960 is gone. But this 960 is not enough for me to say that Jack had $30 more than Jill. Now, but I'm pretty sure Jill gave more to Jack, correct? Whatever it is, we are just going to remove another part over here. Right? This part will go all the way up to Jack. And now Jack has this much. Agree so far? Now, this is gone, isn't it? So you have to mirror image up and say that this is actually over here. Am I making sense here? So this amount is to here. Agree? Whatever that is over here, basically everything over here is actually equals to how much? $30. Am I making sense here? So you can see that this is 1 unit and this is 1 unit. They are actually the same. The 1 unit here and the 1 unit here, they are the same. Am I making sense here? So what do you have to do? You really just have to do $30 minus away 960 first. Am I making sense? All right. So once you're done with $30 minus 960, you get to $20.40. This $20.40, what do you have to do? You have to divide by 2. Why is it that I have to divide by 2? Because I want to find 1 unit. Make sense? All right. So what I can say is that this is basically 1 unit. Which one is 1 unit? This over here and this over here is 1 unit. Okay. Can you see that this is 1020? Can you see that this is 1020?
This is the main
Now, the moment you have this 1020, right, the question says, how much money did they have in all? Oh, wait, before I even go on to that, right, I just want to make sure that this part is actually factored in. Agree? What does the question say? What did the question say? Jack's money became 4 times. That means to say Jack money is 4 unit, Jill is 1 unit. Where is Jill? Jill will just be this one over here. Can you see that? All right, so Jill is left with that. And then mirror image up, this is also 1 unit. Am I making sense here? So that means to say, whatever that is over here is actually how many units? 3 units. Am I making sense? So I'll just put 3 units over here, right? Because Jack is 4 units. If 1 unit is that side, then the other one is 3 units. So 3 units is $30. 1 unit is equals to $10. Question says, how much money did they have in all? You realize this is just internal transfer, isn't it? Jack gives to Jill, Jill gives to Jack, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm trying to say? Or Jill gives to Jack in this situation. So therefore, my total will not change. So that means to say, all I need to do, right, to find out what the total amount of money they have, right, I will just have to find 5 units. How did I get 5 units? Because I know Jack is 4 units, Jill is 1 unit. So I'll just add them up together. Agree? So that's the reason why your answer for this question has to be $50.
Yes.
In the next question, it says, right, how much money did Jill give Jack? Now, ask yourself a question. How much money did Jill give Jack? We will just have to look at whatever there is over here. Am I making sense here? So we definitely know that it's 960 plus another 1020. And that's about it. All right, let me just highlight again so that you can see. How much is it? 960. All right, can you see this 960 over here? All right, this 960 is over here, right? Plus the 1020. Why is this 1020? Can you see this 10? This is 1020, correct now? Because this transferred back up. Okay, so that's the reason why we say, all right, it will just be 960
Plus.
960 plus $10.20. Okay, and this gives me $19.80. The figure below shows a square being divided into 2 smaller squares, A and B, and 2 rectangles. So this is a big square. Agree so far? So what they are trying to show you, or what they are trying to tell you is this, is that this big square, I split it up into 1 smaller square, which is called A, and then another smaller square, which is called B. Correct? Can you all see the full square? C and D, they are both rectangles. Am I making sense here? Did they say that they are identical rectangles? No, they didn't. Okay. Now, we move on to the next part, right? It says the area of B, the area of what? B is 4 times the area of A. That means to say the area of B is 4 units. The area of A is simply just 1 unit. So we say this is 4 units, and then we say this is 1 unit. Now, if you know that the area of a square, if you know the area of a square, you have to square root the area to find the length. So when you see that area of B is 4 units, isn't it true that this is 2 units and this is 2 units?
Oh, yeah.
And for area of A, then isn't it true that it will be just 1 unit and 1 unit? Right? So we want to write out everything we know. In a measurement question, if you don't write out everything you know, I do not know how am I going to proceed. You get what I'm trying to say? You need to make sure everything is written down. Whatever you know, just write out first. The more you write, the clearer it becomes, the more you know. Understand? The perimeter of D is 62 centimeters longer than the perimeter of A. I always teach my students, when we talk about perimeter, we always want to highlight. So we are able to fix our eyes on the parts that I've just highlighted, and I'm not distracted by any other lines. It is 62 cm longer than the perimeter of A. Where is A? I'm going to use another color, which I think you should also use another color to show. Okay? So from here itself, right, it's pretty obvious to me that the perimeter of D, let's write down the perimeter of D. How many units will that be? We do not know the actual measurements, but we know it in units. And that is so powerful because if you know it in units, right, it means that you will be able to find the value of the units. Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
You do not know the actual value, but you know it in units. So perimeter of D will then just be, okay, you can see over here, right? It's 1 unit plus 2 unit plus 1 unit plus 2 unit. Isn't that true?
Yes.
This is 6 units. Okay, that is the perimeter of D. And let's talk about the perimeter of A. The perimeter of A is simply just 1 unit plus 1 unit plus 1 unit plus 1 unit. Of course, Teacher Joseph, can I save 1 unit times 4? Definitely, we get to 4 units. You all agree so far? Now then, why is it that D is 62 centimeters longer than A? Of course, D is 62 centimeters longer than A because D has a greater units. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
D has more. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
D is 6 units. A is 4 units. You get what I'm trying to say? What is their difference? Their difference is 2 units. You all agree so far? Right? Because the word longer, that means to say we are talking about difference. The moment we talk about difference, we want to learn how to minus. 2 units equals to 62. We quickly find 1 unit first. We know that's 31. Question wants us to find, you see, Mr. Greenman is out. The moment Mr. Greenman is out, go and read the question. Find the perimeter of square A. Square A will be 4 units, isn't it? So just simply do 31 times 4. All right, when I do 31 times 4, I will simply get to an answer of 124 cm. And that is my answer for this question.
No.
No. Now,
Oh.
question wants us to find the total area of the figure. Well, look at the figure. What do we have? This is a square, isn't it? So we just have to find 3 units first. What is 3 units? We know that 1 unit is 31. 3 units, isn't that equals to 93? Am I making sense here?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to find the area. So area of figure will then just be 93 times 93. When I do 93 times 93, I will get to an answer of 8,649 centimeter square. Kuma and Larry were paid a total of 3,850 for a job that they did. So we just put K plus L is equals to 3,850. I think that's the first thing that we should do, right? Whatever it is, that should be the first thing that we should do. All right, now we know that, oh, the first part is very easy, right? Kuma was paid 2,030 more than Larry, so we draw a model. All right, so we draw a model. We know that Kuma is paid more, so Larry is paid lesser. How much more? 2,030. What is the total? The total is 3,850. Is that something that y'all can understand? Okay, so what I want to do is really just 3,850 to find this 1 unit and 1 unit, right? Larry is 1 unit. I'm just going to do 3,850 minus away 2,030. Okay, so that basically will help me to find my 2 units. 3,850 minus 2,030 will get to 1,820. So then I want to find my 1 unit. 1,820 divided by 2, I get to 910. Okay. How much was Larry paid for the job? We know that Larry was paid for 1 unit, so therefore it's 910. This is a 4 marks question, so for those of you who are watching this, make sure you listen carefully, okay? Now, Kuma and Larry were paid based on the number of days that they worked. Nothing much to write. Now, what we know for sure is this, Kuma worked 3 times as many days as Larry. So for Kuma, we know it's 3 units. And this is the number of days. Am I making sense here? Well, for Larry, it will be 1 unit. This is what we call big difference, small difference. Okay?
Oh wow.
This is what we call BDSD.
Yay.
See, the moment I say concept, wing like, because it's as if like, you know already, okay, BDSD, this is what I have to do. I have to faster look for my big difference. My small difference is very obvious, isn't it? My small difference is just $5. The question, you see, a BDSD question is very obvious one. They always ask number of days.
It's 2. 2 is the big difference, right? For like the what?
No, 2 is not the big difference. Can I explain to you what is the big difference? Can I explain to you what is the big difference? Now, let me say this, okay? Can I? You all ready?
Oh, it's a number of.
You see, think about this. Kuma, 3 units, right? Larry, just 1 unit. You all agree so far? Now, so we are going to do this. Listen up very carefully. If you want to find a big difference, you always have to bring it down to 1 unit versus 1 unit.
Yeah.
Because it is not fair if I were to compare 3 units and 1 unit. What?
Excellent.
Kuma over here. Okay, this side. So for Kuma, he has 3 units.
Wow, I didn't
For
know.
Larry, is 1 unit. Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
Kuma worked 3 units, and how much did he earn? You remember just now? 1 unit plus 2030, correct or not? Which is how much? 910 plus 2030. Am I making sense here? Then for Larry, it's just 910. Am I making sense here? Okay, so we will say this, okay? 3 units of Kuma is equals to 910 plus 2030. So 3 units of Kuma, 3 units of K is actually equals to 2940. Alright, that is for Kuma. Okay? Now, but then not good enough. You know why not good enough? Because I want Kuma to be 1 unit. So I'm going to get to Kuma 1 unit. So 1 unit of Kuma is actually equals to 2940 divided by 3. We get to 980.
Yeah.
Well, for Larry, it's already 1 unit. So we get to the same level. They must be of the same level. Understand? I say again, you cannot go and compare 3 groups of Kuma versus 1 group of Larry. Doesn't make sense. Bring Kuma down to 1 group of Kuma versus 1 group of Larry. Then that is fair. 1 unit of L will then be 910. Am I making sense here? 1 unit, just see it as 1 group of Kuma. Is that okay?
Yeah.
What is my big difference over here? Isn't that true? My big difference over here is $70. Am I making sense here? Am I making sense here?
Mm-hmm.
I already know that my small difference is how much? $5. Agree so far?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Because the moment I have BDSD, all I need to do is to find my number of days. You all understand so far?
Yeah.
Now you think about this, before you even go on to this. Okay, maybe I will just write this down first. You see, guys, why is my answer number of days? Because we are going to do dollar divided by dollar. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? The moment I do dollar divided by dollar, what happens? I will cancel out. I will cancel out. Alright, I will cancel out, and what I will do is I will say that my answer has to be 70 divided by 5. That gives me 14. This is 14 days. Am I making sense here? Teacher Joseph, this 14 days is what? This is my Mr. Greenman. This is 14 days in 1 unit. That means 1 unit equals to 14 days. That may not be my answer. If they ask you for Larry, then your answer is 14 days. But they are asking for Kuma, right? Remember, Kuma worked 3 times more than Larry, you know? Yeah, so for Kuma, that will be 14 times 3.
Yeah.
Therefore, your answer has to be 42 days. Alright, so that's how you would do a question like this. And 4 marks into your pocket, I think it is possible. I won't spend half of the money on 6 cupcakes and 6 cookies. So what I want to do is I want to draw half and half. Am I making sense here? Okay, not the best drawing, but let me try again. Alright, can you see that? I know whatever that is over here is actually what? 6 cupcakes plus 6 cookies. I will just put cook. Can? Now, this is the tricky part. This is the part that confuses people a lot. Okay? Alright, so what I want to say is this. The price of a cookie is 1/3 the price of a cupcake. What is the meaning of that? That means to say 1 unit goes to cookie, 3 unit goes to cupcake. Teacher Joseph, why? Because there's something called ease over off. I don't know if you all remember this. Ease over off. Right? Ease is closest to cookie. So 1 unit, which is the numerator, must be for cookie. Off is closest to cupcake. Off is always the denominator. Can you see that? So 3 is in the denominator. It has to go to cupcake. Am I making sense here? So we are going to write this down, okay? The price of a cookie, so cookie
1 unit.
is 1 unit. The price of a cookie is 1 unit. That means to say the cookie is 1 unit.
The
Cupcake is
3 units.
3 units. Am I making sense here?
All is the
So
cupcake.
if cookie is 1 unit, right? So 6 cookie will be how many units? 6 units. You understand so far? So then 6 cupcake will be how many units? 18 units. Why 18? Because 6 times 3. Am I making sense here? Isn't this 24 units?
Yeah,
Does that make sense to you? I think that will make it easier.
It
Okay?
makes more sense.
Right? It makes more sense, huh? Now, what did she do? Sentence number 3. She bought some more cookies with 2/3 of her remaining money. So we're gonna split this up. Am I making sense here?
Yes.
In fact, since you have already changed that into 24, you might want to turn this into 24 also. Am I making sense? 16 over 8. 16 over 24. What? 16 over 8? 16 over 24. 8, 16, 24, right? So 16 over 24. Make sense? Understand?
Yeah.
So she bought 16 units. So I don't want to draw 16 units. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. 8 units. So basically, whatever that is over here is basically cookies. Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
How many cookies? 16 cookies. Right? Because 16 units is 16 cookies. 1 unit is 1 cookie, isn't it? Right? Now, question says, or in fact, maybe before I even read the question, I want to know that this is left. Am I making sense here? How many cookies did she buy altogether? Cookies bought all together, you can see cookies. Total cookies, let's ask ourselves. We will have 16 cookies plus 6 cookies. Therefore, your answer has to be 22 cookies bought in total.